Hello, amazing artists. This is Mrs. Gautier coming to you from Fort Lauderdale. And I wanted to do a quick extra credit project for Mother's Day, or you could use it with your name. It's a typography lesson. And typography is the study of making words looking interesting. Okay, so it's an artistic expression of typing up words, right? So when we draw words, we try and make it look a little more interesting, but the key is it also needs to be legible. This lesson reminds me a little bit of the art on the cover of one of my favorite books, A Beautiful Oops. I may have read this to you when you were in the lower school, middle school students, if you've been at St. Mark's long enough. So anyway, here we go. This is the project. I'm just going to give you a little preview for Mother's Day 2020. Simplifying the letters and making sure that they touch creates interesting negative spaces. And in these negative spaces, you can add different colors or patterns, and it becomes a little bit abstract. You can still read Happy Mother's Day, but it's a little bit abstracted. So here we go. I'm going to start with a piece of paper, and we're going to fold it lengthwise like a burrito or a hot dog bun. We're gonna try and do a tri-fold, which can be a little tricky. Some kids prefer zigzagging the paper like a fan. I like just doing it like this. If it doesn't line up perfectly, that's okay, but try your best. And then when you think you got it, push it down, crease the paper on both sides. When you open it up, you should have basically 3 sections. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to divide these sections. Now, each letter of the alphabet needs a different amount of spacing or leading, okay? Because the H might need a little more space than, for example, a letter I, okay? So we can think about that when we're sketching it out. I'm going to use pencil first just because I'm trying to block it out first. I'm going to literally create some small rectangles on each of these little sections. So we have 1, 2, 3 sections, and I'm going to go ahead. You can use a ruler if you like, but I'm just going to eyeball it. We're going to do 7 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so happy is going to fit in the middle. Happy. That's 5 letters with 2 extra spaces on the end. Okay, now for the second row of letters for Mother's Day, we're going to stagger it a little bit. So instead of just doing the same line, we're going to make it a little more visually interesting. We're going to go from the middle of that rectangle and create the almost like bricks. You know how they're kind of staggered? And we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. It's okay if the 7 on the ends are a little skinny, okay? It's just going to help you space things out. And on the last line, we just have to have the word day, D-A-Y, centered. So I'm going to stagger it again, D-A-Y. So we have 3 rectangles, okay? So make sure when you do your letters, you go all the way from the top of the paper to the fold. You can play around with the different letters and change them up. I'm going to do the H bar a little bit lower this time. Make sure your letters touch each other. And so here is the P in happy. Make sure they touch each other on the sides. And the top and the bottom of the letters go all the way to the top of the page, off the page, into the crease. That's going to create a lot of interesting opportunities for color. Okay. So there's happy. And here's the M in Mother's Day. You could do a square O if you want to, but I'm going to do a round one. Just kind of round it off a little bit, that rectangle. There's a capital T. We're doing all caps. You could mix it up if you wanted to, but I'm just doing all caps. There's the R, apostrophe S. And then a D, A, Y. You could add a flower or heart, and you can write 2020 in your name, whatever it is you want to do. Then what I like to do is I go over it with a black marker because it makes it really, really pop. So you can see how that looks. And then each of these little sections will have a different color. Okay, and when you color it in, right now it's pretty bold. When you color it in, it becomes far more abstracted and a lot of fun. It reminds me a little bit of the art of Paul Klee. Okay, he's an artist that we covered when you were small as well. He was all about abstract art and bright colors. So I hope you have fun with this. This is an extra credit lesson. We will have one more assignment due before the end of the school year in typography, letter writing. Okay? See you soon online.